a thug. Different from what it is now, from what it was. Now before I get the rhetoric, my life's on the line for my belief for God and the word that I interpret. Do this rap thing, mainly for the hood, not the churches. But embrace both sides, realizing both sides are where the hurt is. And doing a lot of pain. Now thanks to the Holy Spirit who carried all my burdens when no one was trying to hear it. Teach a group, but can't nobody tell me nothing. I learned by the world's mistakes. Why you stuck it and now fronting like you got it all figured out. Be open for change, and I guarantee your blessings will sprout. Mama told me if it ain't true, don't speak it. And never let manipulators from the streets to the church to force you to tweak it. I'm here for the common cause of peace. Pleading the blood of Jesus for those committing murders on the streets. Time to cease fire like a Southern California committee. But the others killing hate, make some love in the city. Got like twisted and they don't wanna believe it. Walking blind to the truth, that's why they can't see it. Full of excuses is the reasons why they won't change. Religion part of the problem too, division ain't the way you break chains. Got like twisted and they don't wanna believe it. Walking blind to the truth, that's why they can't see it. Full of excuses is the reasons why they won't change. Religion part of the problem too, division ain't the way you break chains.
Life is not a game, you gotta reap what you sow. Bring some change today, 'cause we ain't promised tomorrow. Change, 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 change.
Lost so much greatness prematurely, now where we headed? My life's on the line for the cause, cause to my people I'm so deeply indebted. Giving tools to destroy ourselves and we use them. No doubt I'll be murdered by the system, by people with privileges to abuse them. All because I aspire and lead. Empowerment dreams killed off with no one to leave a legacy. You gotta think we followers, but can't even follow protocol from an OG. They call my change ways being too preachy. And others saying I ain't pushing God enough. The great I am got gangster in him too. Judges annoying, know it's prophet, and they call you bluff. Ain't nothing about the father taboo. Some Bible thumpers false prophesy and get reduced to a worldly level. Let's break the chains, throw off the rope that ties down. Let that baptism make your sins dry.
Whoa, 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 live from Texas. We up in this piece today. We got Rare Breed in the house today. We just gonna go ahead and get this party started and bring them on in. Is that all right with y'all? Let's do this. Rare Breed. What up, man?
What's going on with it?
What's going on? We're glad to have you here. You know, I'm chilling out here in Texas, but I said we gotta go on and get this thing cracking on here. So for those of you guys who are just tuning in, I'm multitasking here today. Rare Breed, why don't you just go ahead and tell us who you are? Who is Rare Breed? You know, we hear this name. I know who you are. You know what I'm saying? But they don't know who you are. So why don't you tell them who is Rare Breed?
Well, you know, Rare Breed started off as Jaime Gregory, you know, and from the life that I lived, the things that I came through and I endured, down the line, God birthed this rare breed in me, and not knowing to what capacity Rare Breed was gonna formulate in, you know, I sit back and sometimes I'm in disbelief what God has done in my life and delivered me from and put me in a space to put Rare Breed on my person and really define what that means of being outside the ordinary person, coming out of these communities, doing things a different way than what average people normally do. I got the same story a lot of people did. Some of it is worse than others. Some of it is not as bad as others, but at the same time, we come from the same environment, but it's not the environment, it's what you do with the opportunities, you know, what you do with yourself in these environments. What do you allow yourself to overcome and withstand, you know?
Right.
And that's what Rare Breed is, an overcomer, you know. Rare Breed is somebody that who has opposition his whole life. The whole world seems like it's against you at times. And what do I do? Do I fold, or do I still be who I'm designed to be? Whatever that is, do I determine what that's going to be? Do I determine my outcome, or do I let naysayers and people on the outside that got every opinion about me be that? You know what I mean? So
right.
The music that I do now as Rare Breed, as a gospel rap artist, it puts me in a position to have to hold a certain standard and be a certain kind of leader. You know, the music came from the leadership of being a community member that came home from prison that was tired of the things going on and wanted to seek change in them communities that I helped wreak havoc in up and down the streets, and spent a lot of years paying for my debt to society. So now I'm out here trying to bring change and be that change, and show the perfection through the imperfection, so to speak. You know,
Okay.
we,
All right.
we
Yeah.
have
Go ahead.
we got a lot of negativity in this community,
Right.
and it festers off into this positive realm that we sit in right now. Um, People will forever see the change when the change is beneficial to them. But
Mm.
when that change stops being beneficial to them, then they dig up the old box. They dig up the old box of boo boo up in there, and start pulling out old stuff. What about you this? What about you that? What about this? And then if they know a new stain put on because they haven't done anything to encourage you to be better, they'll pull that out too. And it's the society that we living in right now. And like I said, the music reflects the things that I go through, dealing with believers and non-believers. A lot of people say I say a lot of things pertaining to pastors, because at the same time, pastors have to hold themselves more accountable than the flock,
Right.
and we
Right.
have to call them on that. They put themselves in a seat, they put themselves in a position to be finger pointed at, to be called out on the stuff that they do. So a lot of people that get mad at that don't understand the whole reasoning behind that, because if I go inside of a church house, and I'm looking for guidance, and you don't give it to me, then I gotta hold you accountable to that, because you told me this was a safe haven, this was a hospital for me to heal, and the doctor ain't equipped to heal me.
Mm. Okay, so check this out. Put a pin right there, because Pastor Colette just chimed in a minute ago, and it's gonna take me back uh, a minute. Before we get into your music and the ministry part of it, you got a powerful testimony. I actually met you, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, at Club Judah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I met you at
Pastor,
Club Judah with Pastor Colette. Before you got to Club Judah, you experienced some things. You just talked about, you was paying back your debt to society and things like that. Why don't you give them your testimony about how God brought you out of the cell to the street?
um, I graduated high school. We can go back a little bit. Where I graduated from high school, I lost my best friend. Uh, July 2nd. That was about a month after I graduated high school. And it put me in a different spiral where I didn't, the direction was barely there. And that really made me really lose direction. And I got into the streets a little bit more heavy, where we got into the robbing, the dope selling, the hanging out, the just low life, and just thugging out here in the streets. And the that led me to going out of town selling dope, seeing life from a different perspective, seeing a lot of money, seeing a lot of other dark things in that lifestyle. Whatever that lifestyle brings, I saw it. Whatever things that that you think exist in there, you
Right.
know, I saw it. And I had a 2-year run on that. 18, about almost 3 years. At 21, I got indicted. September 25th, 1996, I got indicted, and I did my first prison bid. I never been to the county jail, never been to LA prisons, never been a juvenile. God see me through all that, and I escaped that. Not because I wasn't out here doing bad, it was just wasn't for me. God didn't want that to be for me for whatever reason. So I went to prison. I went to federal prison, and I spent um, pretty much all my 20s in prison. I got out from that first bid. I got out 8 months. 2 months, the last 2 months of that 8 months, I got caught back up, and I didn't know how to apply that focus I had in the penitentiary to the streets, and the streets swallowed me back up.
Mm.
Everybody around me was the majority, and the majority was selling dope, negativity. You know what I mean? My son's mama was in the dope game. The first dude I met on the block that was like my brother, he in the dope game. Um, and it just spiraled from that, and I got back involved, and I lasted 2 months in the game, and I looked at a 20 to life sentence on 2 strikes that I didn't even know exist, because I only know 3 strikes. And so, God seen favor in that. I got back to the drawing board of my salvation, of who I was when I got saved in the pen in 19 it was about 1997 when I did the the salvation prayer. I was doing Bible study with an officer that got off work and did Bible study while I was in there fighting my case. And that's when my life transitioned. Once I did that prayer, it's stories in my life that if you never been through your own salvation shift, your paradigm shift, you won't understand what I'm telling you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so it's for everybody to live their own and be delivered from their own thing, but not to say that you can't listen and learn from other people. And so that put me back in jail. I ended up with 11 years and 4 months, and I did about 8 years, 4 months of that bid right there. And my first Saturday home, I was invited by a brother I grew up with to go to an open mic, which happened to be Club Judah. And I didn't know how to be this grown man on the streets. I didn't know how to apply this adulthood to LA streets because we thought we was adults, 14, 13 years old, selling dope
Right.
and wilding out. And now I really had to be that person. So it was a little fear and a little anxiety that kicked in, and I didn't know where to pivot myself at. But this brother invited me to Club Judah. I went my first Saturday out, and that was my pivot. And I didn't know that that was the direction God was leading me in. You know, going back to when I was in prison, from the first time I was in there, I used to write raps. I used to like no desire to be a rapper. Like I can't even explain this, but I would just spend time penning albums, penning songs, releasing frustration to find out that this was a consistency that was going to be a reality for me as Rare Breed to be able to sit down and be disciplined and write music. It was a consistency that was going to be a reality for me to understand through helping people in the community as a intervention worker, a community intervention worker. Now, I speak life into the people. I show them the mess that I am. I show them the mess that I was, and I show them what we working through as a unit, as a community. And it was my coping mechanism to the trauma. As I studied trauma, I studied mechanisms that people use and writing, creativity, speaking things into life is all things related to coping mechanisms for your trauma. And I can't lie and say I'm not traumatized. I've been traumatized by a lot of dark things that I did and a lot of dark things that I seen when I was drunk and high out here on these streets. Because when I sobered up in prison and I looked at my life, it
Mm-hmm.
scared me. You know what I mean? It put fear in me where I didn't understand. I'm like, man, that wasn't me. I didn't really experience that. That was on TV. But
Right.
actuality was real life. And in a sober mind, you either seek some kind of refuge, some kind of salvation, or you lose your mind. Those are the options. You know, and I didn't, you know, like the word, you seek life over death, you know. So I marinated in the word of God. I got involved in self studies because the prison system was not designed to rehabilitate you. And I had to find ways to rehabilitate myself. I got into all kind of scriptures. I got into all kind of studies. I got into books that, you know, if you're not mentally there, those books you can't read. It's books I sat on the shelf for 4 years before I elevated to be able to read those type of books. You know, and people don't understand that these are the levels of life that you got to go through. That you have levels to this stuff. It's things you're gonna read in the Word of God at 30 years old that you wouldn't comprehend at 20 years old. You know, and that's
Right.
why you gotta always continue to study, like they say, to show yourself approved. And are you approved and improved through the times that you've been in these churches? A lot of people say, I've been in church for this long, I've been doing this for this long, but have you elevated yourself in that church? Okay, you know the pastor,
Mm.
you know what he's been through, but what have you been through? What have you elevated yourself to? Stop selling yourself short. And a lot of believers do that. And because
Right.
Rare Breed is a very transparent person, which a lot of church people don't like.
Right.
They want you to tell Tuck and go with the flow. Breed don't go with the flow.
Mm.
If it's a problem, I'm a street activist. I put my life on the line for gang violence. I could die out here pushing this piece. So I'm not gonna go in church and tuck my tail to people's interpretation of what they want me to know the word to be. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I come with a different cloth. You know, like people say, they don't make this cloth no more. They might not, but you know, I'm willing to do my part to show people truth over lies. You know, I don't sit in my lies and say it don't exist. I don't sit in my carnal self and say, I just didn't mess up right now. You know what I mean? And
Right.
lot of people do that. Like I'm not gonna go in church and act like I'm yeah. So I'm not gonna sit in church and act like I'm not in there sitting in my hospital bed. I'm in there
Right.
like hook the IV up. You know what I mean? Double that
Right.
thing up. Let me get nurtured. Let me get fed up in here. Let me fellowship because it was a time and place coming from prison, learning God in prison and being and becoming spiritual in prison. I ostracized myself from the people that were in prison chapels because they were pedophiles, rapists. You know what I mean? Child molesters, and I'm not affiliated with these people because they hiding from the yard. They don't want to confront their demons and deal with us ruthless people on the yard. But then in my maturity, in my education, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, I understood those people are the people I need to latch on to, so to speak, because we all come from a hurt that needs healing.
Right.
And everybody is not going to be in there for the right reasons. True enough.
Now, the
You know what I
interesting
mean?
part
So
that you said
you just got to
earlier,
really push it out.
yeah, the interesting part you said earlier was
Say it again.
the interesting part that you said earlier about you was talking about growth, being in somewhere and not growing. Because I met you at Club Judah, I've seen you grow from one stage to another. And because I serve as your I have the honor of serving as your manager, I am a researcher, right?
Yes, man.
So you do know I have some footage from Club Judah, right?
Okay, you got some old throwback.
I'm gonna give them about maybe 60 seconds of this, and you guys that are watching, I want you guys to push the share button because we're not gonna spend a lot of time on music, but I want to give you about 2 minutes of this. Then we're gonna come back and we're gonna find out how the video "Break Them Chains" came into play, and then we're gonna get back into some real stuff. We all about transparency today. So y'all stand by and let's get a little bit of Club Judah. RAREBREED Club Judah. We'll be back.
The next young brother that's gonna come out here he's kind of fresh in his ministry, but you can't tell by his stage performance. You can't tell by his skills. It's like he walked into the game ready. All right? And that's a rare thing. Most artists gotta get ready. You know what I'm saying? Most artists gotta get ready. Rarely do they walk in and already ready. That's why this cat go by the name of Rare Breed, because he's a rare breed when it comes to MCs. So put your hands together.
Yeah. How y'all doing? Start that track whenever you get ready. I know we all being worked on. Somebody can relate to this. Start that next one.
I'm being worked on.
Y'all feel me on this. It's me and y'all being worked on.
I'm being worked on.
Day-to-day struggle.
Worked on. But 3 years and 419. I'm being worked on. Worked on. Matthew 6:33. I'm being worked on. Worked on. Check this out. Yeah.
Feeling my impact on the world thus far, and yet they're big. Coming up too safe and quickly, can't snatch those who do what did. No doubt that I got a lot of work left on this earth to give. Grateful for down, plot, shook, get it doing right life I now live. Like expectancy was maybe 18 years or never. Mechanisms of survival has been my main endeavor. Lost on what to do and let excuses choose for me. Caught it doing what I had to, caught everything but deadly. Twisted perception, thought selection had me backwards hope. Feeling out of mirror vision, praise the senseless murder show. Age of pain takes me further away from lawless games. Get my change, ways, free us from these mental chains. The whites in my eyes, sweat at the thought of my past. So let God for the slaughter and wearing Satan's ugly mask. Quick moment of silence, let the man roll my old ways. Value my truest essence as I give him past my praise.
Worked on. Corinthians 5:17. Worked on.
How many can feel that? We all being worked on.
I'm being worked on.
You know I ain't the only one.
Worked on.
That's all y'all get. That's all y'all get. I'm being worked on. I think we all being worked on, Breed. What you say?
Oh yeah, that's a constant struggle. You know, we wake up every day working on our attitude. We work on our peace of mind. We work on the ills of the world that tap into us and tap into our flesh, and we lose our spirituality. You know, we go to work day to day. Just because you're a spiritual person, you might not work in a spiritual place. You know what I mean? So you constantly under attack. You constantly dealing with the rhetoric. You're gonna have back talkers. You're gonna have a lot of people that's always after you. And at the end of the day, I mean, like they always say, it's a little cliche, but they talked about Jesus. They persecuted Jesus. They hung him on the cross. You know what I mean? And all outside of the salvation that he gave us for dying for us, it was the stuff before that he had to deal with. He had to deal with the world's lies. He had to deal with the falsehoods, the perception. He had to deal with all these things that led him to have to go up there and get persecuted on all these falsehoods. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we as people following those footsteps of the world. We live in an evil world right now. I'm in LA. It's a lot of killing out here in LA. Like I work with the gang intervention. I work with the Mayor Garcetti's program. I get the hood calls and I get the LAPD calls, you know, and it's overwhelming. It's not just my community that's falling. It's not my homeboys dying. It's the tribes around me that I care about because I'm a human being and I'm a humanitarian and I love to live. Let me live. I'm gonna let you live. A lot of things ain't worth dying for,
Right.
but a lot of people are killing for a lot of worthless things right now in these communities. Our youngsters are lost. They got dope addicts. They got drug habits. They got, I mean, it's not even led up to, okay, I'm gonna have a little weed habit later on, become a dope addict because it got worse. These youngsters going straight into the hard stuff off top. You know what I mean? And they leading a life of destruction. And
he'll be back in a minute. He's speaking on this gang intervention that we got going on right now. It's like the enemy don't want us to get the message out, but I think he back. Yeah, he back. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm back.
You speaking on the
of course the devil don't want that. The devil don't want the truth out, so they gonna.
I just said that. I just said that. So look, I was looking over some
right now. I mean,
hey, keep it going, keep it going. You know how we know how to flip it when it go black. Just keep talking. So check this out. You were talking about the gang intervention, and I know you work with a lot of different organizations.
The connection is messing up.
Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. Let me roll a little United for Peace, and then we're gonna come right back.
What's going on, y'all? We out here in California, South LA, pushing this peace. We got a United in Peace ride today. 2020, this is the first one of the year. We got a lot of low riders, street bikes, hogs, Corvettes, civilian cars, everybody riding in the name of peace. We're gonna stop at some corners. We're gonna pray for some loved ones that have been lost in this senseless murder, this senseless killing, this gang violence out here in this community. Hashtag United in Peace, hashtag Peace Ride LA. Follow us, get involved, do it in your town. We need it all across the world, so you know, make sure you do your part.
Got like twisted and they don't wanna believe it. Walking blind to the truth, that's why they can't see it. Full of excuses, here's the reasons why they won't change. Religion part of the problem too, division ain't the way you break chains. Got like twisted and they don't wanna believe it. Walking blind to the truth, that's why they can't see it. Full of excuses, is the reasons why they won't change. Religion part of the problem too, division ain't the way you break chains.
United in Peace, Peace Ride LA. We out here pushing this peace in the community. We got Christian brothers, Muslim brothers, all out here for the same common cause of peace, man. We got my brother Rizza Islam, man. Tell us what's going on.
Let me say this, man. We've been doing these peace rides well over 5, 6, 7 years, and we have brought down crime. We brought unity between, like you said, the Christians, Muslims, Mexicans, the black folks, Bloods, Crips, lowriders, bikers, all the different people and factions and areas. We have brought unity successfully to them, and we will continue to do that. This is what we have to do. We have to remain consistent. No religious game banging, no color game banging, no culture game banging. It's all love, it's all unity, and that's exactly what it is that we will make successful, because most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that our unity is more powerful than a hydrogen or an atomic bomb. That's my brothers, y'all my brothers, and as we come together, the world will finally see that we are a true brotherhood.
You already know. I know what it is. Get involved.
Don't be an angel who doesn't stay in position. Make your confession too to be broken.
Give it up for the peace ride.
That's the peace ride, man. Let's talk about these streets. Let's talk about these streets. Somebody put a comment up here a minute ago, Rare Breed. Uh, they said it's so sad working at a mortuary and the deceased are getting younger and younger. It breaks my heart.
Yeah, that's a sad situation. One of the ones hit home for me is young Franklin Ross, a Cambodian young man that was 3 years old, lost his life hanging out with his mom at a liquor store, sitting in his car in Compton, and her boyfriend decided to shoot at another car in retaliation. They shot at the car and killed the young boy. And to see that young man lose his life behind something he had nothing in. He didn't have no business in. He didn't have, like, he's too young to even be involved, you know. And when parents put their kids in that kind of harm's way, it's sad. I honestly feel like his mother should have looked at charges behind it, but she didn't. She moved on. The guy went to jail. She went and found another relationship, and last I heard, she was pregnant by some other guy. And moving forward, and this 3-year-old baby, his family is broken. His dad is broken behind it. The healing process may not ever happen. Um, a lot of people don't heal from this stuff going on in the community. The peace ride is an opportunity for us to fellowship and heal and bring healing to one another, not just one person. It's all about us coming together. Religious entities, stop the religious gangbanging. If you're a real humanitarian, whether you're a Christian or a Buddhist or a Nation of Islam, Scientologist, if you're a human being, you're gonna have love and light for the next person. You're not going to sit there and hate a person because they are Scientologists. You know,
Right.
you're not going to want a fellowship with somebody because they serve God from a different avenue. You know, and knowledge, wisdom, and understanding don't teach this stuff. And I get so disappointed at the believers who sit here and they told me that I was what do you say, pretty much I was operating outside the faith because I was with Minister Tony and Nation of Islam out there. They said that I'm like, if it's dark over there and you supposed to be a light, why are you going the other way?
Right.
Let the lightning over there.
Right.
And a quick story about that. I stayed faithful. I was the only gospel rapper on that stage when they first started. They gave me an opportunity to put two other people in that space. And as it evolved, long story short, I went from being the only gospel rapper on the stage. I'm in charge of the lineup now.
See
You know what I
there?
mean? So that's the favor, that's the light, that's the diligence and the work that you do when you stay faithful to the higher being, the higher cause, and stop worrying about what man thinking about you. You know what I mean? And compromising your faith is when you go the other way. It's
Yeah.
not when you go that way and you be your and your tools are sharp, and I try to have people around me. I I took my business partner a lot of places with me. She showed up in a lot of places for accountability, so I could stay on point, so I could have that outside watchman let me know if I'm getting too far behind or too deep into it, or if I went left and I went against my own belief system. You know what I mean? So you gotta have you gotta have that balance. You gotta have that pastoring. You gotta have that relationship with God by yourself. Because
Yeah.
when God gave me the word, God didn't give me a pastor. He sat me in a shoe program in prison, and he gave me a Bible, and I had to decipher that word for myself. And before I
Mm.
could say, well, the pastor said, God put it within me. God put pastoral methods inside each and every one of us. If you never hit a pulpit, if you a Christian, you're supposed to believe in that word of God. And a lot of what what killed me, even Jay, a lot of
What?
people mock and ridicule you, and they'll tell you everything about the word of God. And then when you ask them, have you ever took time in your life to read the word of God cover to cover in your years of living? And they'll tell you no. And I said, how do you respect the word of God? And how do you expect me to believe your word if you haven't read it cover to cover at least one time?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's so much discourse in the Christian community. Do I give up on them? No. Do I speak up on it? Yes. Do I get backlash? Yeah, but not by the non-believers. I get it by the believers that don't want to sit in the truth that they
Right.
tell me I don't sit in. You know what
Right.
I mean? So So, going back to who Rare Breed is, Rare Breed came from a dark place and found some light. And a lot of people don't like that light shined in their face, like they don't like the police to roll up on you and shine that light in their face and ask you what you doing out here. So,
You broke them
so
chains.
be it. God bless. God bless. Rare Breed gonna continue to move forward. It's a lot of things coming in 2021. Closing out the year with three singles, So Good, Backlash, and The Streets Don't Love You. Streets Don't Love You came from a real deep place for me. Talking about the people who got caught this year for murdering my brother. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I had to speak on it because I was sitting at a peace table with him. I held hands and I seen God in that person. I
Right.
broke bread with that person. Um, I helped that person elevate with the knowledge, wisdom, and I had as a peace builder, so they could be a better peace builder. I stepped back and let that person do the interviews with the media, and told them, how to do this and that and the third, whatever was put on my heart. And I seen God manifest in that person. That later on, June 23rd, gets indicted, and one of his charges is for killing my brother. And
Mm.
that song "So Good" is based on things like this. You can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me your story if you don't know my story. You
Right.
know what I mean? Because you come from something, you want to tell somebody like they ain't came from nothing, and then you want to have your opinion of me being in the hood still. When I came to Christ, I was a gang member that loved the Lord.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I had a passion for my community, and that passion shifted from the murder, mayhem, and all those things to love, prosperity, brotherhood, real solidarity, real unity, real empowerment. And I can't leave my soldiers for dead.
Right.
So do I go to the hood? Yeah, I still go to the hood. Do I go to functions? I do. But what do I come as? I come as Rare Breed. I don't come as who I was before I got locked in them chains. And I
Mm.
go out there and I get asked to, hey, big homie, can you come over here and pray over this candle? We putting candles out for the homies, for the homegirl. Can you pray? I'm equipped to do that. I'm gonna take that assignment. Hey, big homie, I see you on Facebook. Now I'm up and close and personal. We can have an interview pretty much in the hood. Now you can tell me about everything you've seen and I can enlighten you because you started a conversation with me. But if I tuck tail and I go get a house out there in Hesperia up in the hills where it's cheap and you can get 1,000 bedrooms for $1,000, and you can get away from the comfort of your trials and your tribulations and the things that built you to the character you are, then you lost to me. A lot
Yeah.
of those people come down here to LA to be all they could be, but they go up there and they dig their feet up in some comfortable carpet, 27 days out the week, and then 3 days out that month. You coming down here trying to tell us about what's going on in LA when I'm sitting right here listening to a gunshot at the corner of the church, somebody getting shot at the liquor store right behind me as soon as I pull up where I stay at. You know what I mean? So I'm there for the healing. I'm there for the tools. I'm there to pick up a phone call and say, hey, such and such just came through here, man. How do we create peace? It's inside stuff that you don't talk about to community members that don't deal with this inside stuff. It's assignments that God gave me that a lot of people in church can't come out in the streets and do. It's people
Yeah.
in my phone that I could call right now and bring peace amongst different tribes that people can't do sitting in the pulpit. So it's not that I knock the pulpit, but everybody got an assignment and everybody got a portion to play. If you do your portion, this thing can go so big and it can be. I need the people in the pulpit. I need the people in the pews. I need people passing out um, food at the church on Sundays. I need y'all in the streets with me because I became a prayer warrior because they weren't there when I started, when I got out of prison, and we were standing on corners praying with mothers who lost their kids. It wasn't pastors on the corner. It was people that loved God and had a passion for God, and they looked at you. Hey, we need a prayer warrior. Here I go.
Where
You
did
got
Jesus
James
hang out
Farmers
at?
coming out of South Florida.
Where did Jesus hang
Oh,
out
he was
at?
on the block. He was on the block. That's the word I heard. I don't know what Bible. And you know what? Even say if people stop clutching that Bible and running from me and really look at the image of the people in that Bible, they would drop that Bible because they would see a whole bunch of people like me.
Man, Titus was a
You know what I
gangster.
mean?
You want to talk about it? Titus was a gangster. He was a straight up rider.
And then you know who Jesus banged on? Jesus didn't even bang on the people that was persecuting him and talking bad about him. He was banging on the people that was defiling in the Father's house, saying that y'all disrespecting the Father's house, but y'all saying
Yes.
y'all believers and y'all doing this, that, and the third. He went over there and banged on them.
Well,
See, the interpretation is so watered down, and that's why the music is relevant because the ear right now is not on contemporary gospel, not on the old school gospel. It's on hip hop,
yeah,
and right now that's the culture that raised us. So now hip hop has to be a voice for the movement. We in a spiritual warfare. Back in
right.
the civil rights movement, we had James Brown, we had Marvin Gaye, we had Stevie Wonder speaking life into the movements of that day. Now you got Rare Breed. You need to
Yeah.
have the Bizzles and Lecrae speaking up for the spiritual warfare we in. It ain't about jumping up and down doing all this right now. We in a serious spiritual warfare right now.
You know, some for
We
some
need
reason
all
people
hands on deck.
think that hip hop is just like in a little small box, but you know, hip hop is we're in arenas. We're in arenas. The young people, the young generation right now, they're looking for something different. Love my hymns, grew up on hymns and stuff. But sometimes you got to put a twist on a little something. I'm getting ready to play a video called "Lay My Burdens" because you know that's one of my favorites. I'm not gonna play the video, but I'm gonna play a live presentation. Why don't you speak on that? Oh, he'll be back. That's our cue to go roll to the video. Be ye also ready. We'll be right back.
Been a long haul, but a long way to go. But through it all, I learned one thing: if you give God your all, you get your all given back to you. And if you let your burden at the foot of the cross, He will carry you and lead you. In Christ's name. Called on the healer with leprosy at my time of need. Spirit was lost, starving souls, every rhyme seed. Cried out as a gangster for commerce to bodies where you street. Now my heart cries out to God as I consistent with me. Trust what you book for my father through the confusion. Found many authors. All my burden at the foot of the finish. Who's also the starter? Jesus Christ, let us say His name. So much power in His holy name. Trust and believe it's not a game. Found out while I was living, lame and sorry, fulfilling the life of the mockery. Born in the sin that destroys you and me. Stay vigilant at the cross where I first saw the light. Burdens of my heart rolled away. My faith I received sight. In the love owed I can never repay. Losing me mugs as I die, self-rejoicing in this. You know, let your soul get weary. Lay your burdens at the cross. Burdens too heavy to bear. Give it all to the ball. Break down falls and load it on by the enemies. Let it all stay at the foot of the cross. When you leave, lay your burdens down. I lay my burdens down. Thank God for the gift we found when we laid our burdens down. Lay your burdens down. I lay my burdens down. Thank God for the gift we found when we laid our burdens down. Got spiritual boundaries on my head. Measured by others, gifted who think that promotion predicated on killing me. From being uplifted, intimidation and getting ahead in God's life for gain. Now believing I'm for sharing blessings of His glorious fame. Who we all will be kings in His kingdom. The world done what they mean to praise Him. You're still I'm praising for the people we sent. Now who was took? My word biting like a snake with venomous hook. Come to the must to look with spiritual eyes. Things are going the way on mine. Something's for those I come in contact with sharing these hard times. Faith of a mustard seed, give it for the world to see. May not have earned it, but I'm carrying it by His love and mercy. And carrying the follow He who's being revealed through me. Took the trials of a burdened son, individual. Thought I exceeded limits of God's forgiveness for my soul. Life was taken for granted. Even murdered the seed He blessed me and the queen have planted. Finally rested these weary burdens at the foot of the cross. Thank God for being found in space. Just resetting many deaths being the cross. Your soul get weary, lay your burdens at the cross. Burdens too heavy to bear.
I stopped y'all on the bump, didn't I? I know. I see y'all. I see y'all still going. The video going. Y'all it's gone, but y'all still. I see you moving. Hey, I see you moving. Hey. I love teasing folks. Y'all. I hope y'all hang here with me. This is just a sneak peek of what's getting ready to happen with Rare Breed. You guys spread the word. He's getting ready to come up with his own talk show. Raw. Transparent. We're gonna get out here and do what we gotta do. lay my burdens down. It's so much going on right now with this pandemic. So you got the pandemic, you got we living in the last days, you got the street violence.
Mhm.
Uh, um, what can you say to some of these people that just really don't believe that they gonna leave this
Say it again. You
place?
broke up.
What do you have to
Say it one
say
more
to the
time.
okay? What do you have to say to the people that think that bullets have a name? Do bullets have a name?
Okay, you breaking up a little bit.
Okay. Do bullets have a name? I might have to type it on the screen for you. Do bullets have a name? Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna type
I'm
it
trying
for
to
you.
hear it. It's breaking up real bad.
Okay. Hold on. Have a name.
You had to type your question in.
Yep. I'm gonna type it in right now. Here we go. Oh, he'll be back. He'll be back. Got a little technical difficulty. So what we gonna do? Y'all want to see another video? Let me do a little something for you. Let me get a little something. Here we go. Here we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do bullets have a name? Do bullets have a
Do
name?
bullets have names? No, they don't. I've been shot at since I've been out. Um, car shot up, back window blew out. It wasn't my beef. They didn't know who I was. I was in a rental car, to be honest. And that's just what the streets do. It's evil out here. Um, you could be mistaken from somebody else. You could be looking like somebody else and catch a bullet. People know this side of the world. Um,
It's breaking up a little bit, but I'm gonna read this question while we getting that this statement. Generations change, and with that comes the music change. And we need to adapt to those changes. Music is the number one influence in all generations, but especially in today's generation. Rare Breed's music relates to the ear who needs saving, and that's the young people. They need to hear more positive, life changing music from artists like him and other rappers, other gospel rap artists. But it takes all of us to push that positivity. Mm, that was good. That was good. That was good. We're gonna get him back in a minute, but like I was saying, we're getting ready to do some things with Rare Breed that will help this next generation be able to reach out and connect. And he's back. You see how the enemy don't want us to get this
yeah,
message out, Breed?
yeah, they don't want this dialogue. They like that watered down dialogue. They don't want the truth. I sit down in these communities and I assess what's going on and I see what we missing at. And in 2021, that's what we gonna do. Sitting at a lot of tables.
Right,
We done with the problems. We don't want the pontificate of where it all started. We
right,
want to know the healing portion of life right now. That's what we moving in 2021. And the powers that be don't want that healing. If they wanted to heal, they wouldn't have killed Tookie. You know what I mean? To
right,
not be so violent, they would have let all the powers that be really come together and do what they do, to bring this force, but they do a lot of process of elimination so that we can continue in this havoc and wreak this havoc on each other. Um, it's a lot of divide on everything. Peace tables got division, churches got division. I mean, Christians, the biggest division, the divided religion I could see.
right,
We got
right.
AMEs, Episcopal, Seventh-day Adventists. I mean, if that ain't gang banging on your own, that's crazy.
Right. So what we gonna do? We gonna have a part two to this dialogue. We're gonna try to have a part two before 2020 is out, but we definitely gonna come back at the top of the year. Soon as Rare Breed think of what the name of his table talk gonna be. Yes, we're gonna spread this love. As you see on the bottom of the screen, if you want to get in touch with Rare Breed, just go ahead and email me at evaj at touchingtheworldnow touchingtheworldnow.com. You can go ahead and visit our website at touchingtheworldnow.com. Scroll on over to the artist and just click Rare Breed. Click Rare Breed. Why don't you, before we close out with a video, why don't you just give somebody some encouraging words, and then we're going to get out of here.
Let's continue to be strong, people of God, be humanitarians. Let's stop mocking each other. Let's stop knocking each other down and lifting each other back up. Where I fall short, I expect one of the brothers or sisters to help me lift me back up. Let's continue to know unity. Unity is empowerment. If we don't empower by the masses, we will continue to fall short. So that's my that's the legacy I want to leave behind. It is that I united somebody, I empowered somebody, and we got better.
Okay. And I got something else I want you guys to do for me, if that's all right. I want you guys to go on over to Facebook and click King Amongst Kings. That is his fan page. So you guys can keep up with what is going on with them. Tanika said, thank you. Rare Breed, I thank you for taking time out with us on today. I think we're going to close out with, let's close out with your boys. Let's close out with a little gospel gangsters. And I think I'll see y'all on the next run. I love y'all. Let me see if he's back so he can say bye. He being worked on right now. All right, y'all. Love you. Check you later.
Yeah, throw your hands up. Give him praise in the house tonight. Now throw your hands up. Standing against the world, not curling up like a fetus. Yep. That ain't the only route for your soul and help you save it. So what's up, your serious to roll? I like the purpose to lay, renewal of your life. It's all right here today. That minds cloud, glorifying the foolishness, celebrate calamity with a prideful spirit. Little rest like me, my life to share. And you don't feel to hear it. This I know you fear it. You're scared to beliefs, of flesh and desires. Put it all on the line for worthlessness. Now I'm a spiritual mortar. Rejecting the devil's soul with this composed vision. No need to frown with this real, bringing about my division. I don't knock the decision. Just give it as real as we say. Allow it to shine. Be glorification in Yahweh. Let me see your hands up in the air. We gonna pray our way. Yeah. Lift his name up. Hold your praises up. Hold your praises up. Yeah. Well, y'all over here. Hold your praises up. Hold your praises up. Show your babies now. Don't pass me cookie when we do step. Let y'all light shine. Cause I'm dope when I write rhymes. Heaven spit the spirit and feeling them on the right rhyme. Okay, you can't spit it better than me. The more the anointing, the better than she. Max out like the 4-yard. Choose life if not, then death gon' bogart so hard. On the boulevard, show them how I'm living. Let's Christ change his life, then I teach him how to get. That's how it is. That's a big wheel. Keep spinning, grinning while I'm rolling, thinking about the 8 beat winning, no pretending. We real G's, near please. The guy that used to sell weight and deal real cheese with a California breeze. Throw on my face, y'all be from the West Coast, it ain't a better place. Hey, yo. Where them hands at? Let me see them hands up there. Throw your praises up, throw your praises up, throw your praises up. Yo. Throw your praises up, throw your praises up, throw your praises up. How many people know? He said when praises go up, blessings come down. Throw your praises up, throw your praises up. Throw your praises up, throw your praises up, throw your praises up. Yo, ain't no time for contemplate, ain't nobody wait. The Savior's alive, time to party, I'm celebrating. Calling the dancers, bringing tambourines and all. I call Rare Breed just to get them off the wall. And thinking the wall, I got homies I see fall. And spilling alcohol was the sacred as altar call. And body heat, focusing on their life. And finally realizing it's hopeless without Christ. All his toys on the dice, kiss him and shake him twice. But $100 wasn't no reason to take his life. I seen that, I mean that. And seeing babies feed for crack make us wonder where Elohim's at. I get rap as a chance to spit, a chance to switch their minds in their hands and live for westbound, down in Los Angeles. We make a dance to this and praise things like this. Let me see your hands like this. We ain't doing right. Throw your praises up, throw your praises up. Throw your praises up. Throw your praises up, throw your praises up. Yo, hallelujah. Praises up, throw your praises up. Yeah, hallelujah. Throw your praises up, throw your praises up. Yeah. up, throw your praises up. Throw your praises up, throw your praises up, throw your praises up. Yeah, this name up, praises up, throw your praises up. Throw your praises up, throw your praises up. I want y'all to do this. Put your hands in the air like this. Stretch them out. And we're gonna lift up. Cornerstone. How many people know he's worthy? Amen. Give God a hand praise.
See y'all later, y'all. We love and appreciate ya. We out.